speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down. Bring them on down, bring them on down. The speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down. Bring them on down, bring them on down. Speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down. Bring them on down, bring them on down. Speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down. Bring them on down, bring them on down. The speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down. Bring them on down, bring them on down. The speakers up and turn them up and bring them on down.
Go, man. So cool, the introduction of KendoCast, ladies and gentlemen. This is a YouTube podcast, and I guess it's not exclusive to YouTube, maybe we could say. Welcome to the first episode. It's called The Beginning and 2012. Just for a little bit of background, I'm DrKendo, of course, if you've never seen me before, but I created a YouTube channel. It reached over 68 million overall views. At one point, 200,000 subscribers it hit, and dropped below that. Also changed or positively impacted hundreds of thousands of lives. It led to personal opportunities that are certainly cool. Let's focus more on the coolest part of it, which is helping people and connecting to them and all of that. But if you are curious on just some of the accolades, I got my Silver Play Button Award from YouTube in 2015. Indie game studios of just varying sizes made connections with me, and they sometimes even asked me to exclusively announce news in their games. Most notably was the introduction of a character called Chumpy in a game called Marooners. Some of y'all may have remembered that if you've been here for a long time. I've got a DrKendo controller that was made, but sadly it's actually out of production now, so nobody can get it. That's the problem, right? But I've even got a DrKendo credit card. Look at this, you guys. This is it's got my logo on there and everything. You can see I'm a little bit shaky. I got the jitters. Of course, I've got an essential trimmer as it is. But anyway, you guys, the DrKendo credit card, it's not like I went to Wells Fargo's website and put in my own template. Nah, this is an actual card company that's specifically for creators. That they reached out to me and designed a card exclusively for me because of the success of my channel and all that. How cool is that? But if I say any more of these accolade things, then I will sound like a bragging prick. So it is best that we move on, but you get the picture, right? This podcast it's going to take you through every year of being on the channel so far, leading up until now. So essentially the rise and fall of the channel. But specifically, what was going on behind the scenes with all of this? Because there's an unspoken, some people speak about it, but creators often are going through a lot of pain. There's a lot of mental, there's physical pain, oftentimes, especially in the case of myself, but there's a lot of hard work. Being a creator, it's really not the easiest thing. So please, if you are watching this live, I really appreciate it, but this will be a produced video that's recorded and all that. Gonna have some light edits and things. And so, yeah, I hope that everybody is ready for that. And look at me, I was not recording the audio on the actual audio recorder. So look at that, already the first flop, but it's okay. I'm gonna make do. So I think the first thing was generally just a lot of people would ask, why did you start a YouTube channel? Not a rude thing. They would just ask, what was the reason for starting it? And starting a YouTube channel was it was a delayed move, but it was the obvious one for my life. I used to love making home videos, first off. I had one of the VHS tapes. You guys, I'm as old as a dinosaur, so I had the VHS type camera. It was huge. It's you see with the news crews, but you would hold it on the shoulder, look through a little viewfinder, and it had a big whole VHS tape in there. I'm sure you guys know what a VHS tape is, right? Sorry, should not be talking down to anybody, but yeah, I used to do that a lot. Oh my gosh, they were the dumbest home videos. Some of them I've shown on the channel before. Not really ones that I made though, but you guys, that was part of it. I also always loved doing voices. I would be the, 9-year-old, 10-year-old kid on the playground during recess, and I'd be just spouting voices of my favorite characters. There was clearly, everybody knew I should be institutionalized at that point. They knew I should be locked up because I was just, I was insane, man. And so, you take those things, then you take the love of just broadcast, voiceover, and then video games. I was always into video games. Picked up pretty much Duck Hunt probably was the first one. Little bit in the, it was like late age 5, but I really didn't, I always claim age 6 was when I started playing video games because, you know, I got a Sega Genesis then, and it had actually been out for a while, but I got Sonic the Hedgehog on that, you know, and so really began the journey with Sonic and Mario, you guys. So, like, what combines all of those things? YouTube. I had even applied to have my own show on like Comedy Central on MTV because there was this show called The Andy Milonakis Show, and like I was doing stuff that was somewhat similar to that. It was like idiotic things at my high school, and I've got an entire show on that. It's on VHS, but it has been digitally put into my computer and all that. So, man, one of these days you guys got to see that show.
Let's all come up with what fast food snack we're most resentful of. I'm going to call everyone's parents and tell them they're failing at a discipline problem and have them grounded during prom.
Is that Brady?
I don't know. Here, let's go now. Do it now.
But that was like really the basis, right? So I started doing voice acting on the internet. There was a website called voiceactingalliance.com. It's extremely sad. This website doesn't exist anymore, you guys. God, I have so many fond memories, and there were people that I connected with over there. There was like so much that I did, and this would have been the year 2010, and I was looking at it in like the year 2009. I had graduated college. I took a half a victory lap. That would be a December graduate for 2009. I went to college for communications and did a minor in photography. So I had a minor in photo communications. It was great. It was a really good time. I loved college. Everything was fantastic. And then plop, like I didn't have a job. There was so much going on. Essentially, that was like the main hardship. And like people, if you've never had a job and you're looking for one, you know how like difficult that is. But then also people always asking you about it and being like, oh, hey, look, that place is looking for work. And it's like, you know, some job that you aren't trained for. You know, like I don't know about working in a bakery. You know, it's not beneath me. I would totally work at a bakery, but like I didn't know, you know. So anyway, that's the point. But yeah, so during that time, though, I just got into some voice acting on the internet. You guys, some of these projects can still be found, but it was like really largely before YouTube had like kicked off a lot more. We're talking, you know, early 2010. YouTube was alive. It was a website. It was like people were on it. I'm just saying it hadn't really gotten the steam, you know? And so some of the voice acting projects were on there, and then some of them were just like little, I don't know, like 17-year-old kids who were directing their own like machinima. If you've ever heard of a machinima, it's like using video games to make a story, like a make your own episode. Red versus Blue, the Halo series, is like a very good example of that. There's so many other examples though, but like this is the kind of stuff I was usually voicing in. There would occasionally be the paid job on this voice acting alliance, but it was really not that often. Like that was definitely not the majority. And so again, this all just sort of like led me to the path. Well, you know what? I should start doing a YouTube channel where people do these Let's Plays. That was like such a new term, you know, Let's Play. And so I just thought like, what the hell game would I do? I love like every game. And so that fateful day, it was 2011. Now, this is a big deal. I've always claimed 2012, starting YouTube in 2012. So, it's not a lie, because I always say I start this channel in 2012. That would be DrKendoCommentaries. That's the truth. But I did actually have a channel called DrKendo. We're going to get to that. Did just want to say that I did find a job, though. It was only about 2 months after graduating, and I was at work. I was watching these commentaries of StarCraft 2. I actually lied to my wife about it. This sounds so like much more scandalous when I put it that way. It's just my wife and I had always like talked about like, oh wow, I guess we didn't always, but like one time I think I brought up the idea to her. I was like, what do you think about these people? I saw them today. They were playing video games and talking about it on YouTube. And she was like, that's kind of stupid. You know, like she like flat out was just like, that's sort of dumb. And so that's why I was like, yeah, that is dumb. I hadn't started yet. You know, I was just watching this at work. This job was cool, by the way. I was an account manager, and it was for a Usenet product. Has anybody heard of Usenet? Usenet is like the crystallization of the internet. I mean, it basically is the internet. Like, I still do, to this day, I worked at this place for 2 years. I do not know what Usenet is. Okay, so like, it's crazy. But anyway, Usenet, essentially, think of it like Reddit combined. It's like, especially for things that were reserved typically to be nerdy at the time, life has come forward, like a lot of people's thinking has come forward on this. And so like what was nerdy back in 2009 when I would have been applying for jobs was not so nerdy anymore, you know. You think about like coding. Coding is like a big one. Programming, you know, on Usenet. You can look up Usenet if you're interested, but it was a scam. This product sucked nuts. Like, we were not Usenet. We were a product that packaged Usenet. Like, how the hell do you market that? And so anyway, I was an account manager. I was supposed to be like a sales and marketing type dude. This company was invested in by Germans, so it was owned by a German investing company that had tons of companies. I actually ended up becoming the top account manager in about 2 months after getting the job. This was crazy, okay? So they put my numbers, like, here's the thing is you got paid that job like a salary, but it was only like $8. Yeah, I mean, minimum wage back then was like way different, but also it wasn't exactly minimum wage, but it was like close to it, okay? And so, like I say, like things were very different back then, but like I'm just trying to paint a picture that I'd got like a really small salary, and then they said most of what we want you to earn is going to be on commission. And so every time that you get somebody to sign up for our product, then like a 14-day free trial, that was a lead. And every time you get a lead, that would be 50 cents. So imagine you signed up for my product, this Usenet product, you got the free trial, I just got 50 cents off of you. And so ultimately it was very stupid, but the job was actually fun because I was like basically doing nothing. I was like sending emails, you know. I didn't have to talk to anybody on the phone, which I love. I hate phones, okay? But here's what ended up happening. I hit a huge niche with them on finding BitTorrent websites. You guys remember torrents? I'm not talking about toros. I'm talking about torrents. Torrents, man, this will take you back if you were on the internet in the old days, but like, you know, Kazaa and all that. I found these websites that would basically just be to illegally download movies, videos, songs, whatever, and like all BitTorrent stuff. So they would disguise these links. You could almost say that I was a hero, okay? Here's why. Now, I got this niche and it hit huge, okay? It ruled for the company. It was awesome. Like, I was a genius and everything. I became the top seller, top everything at that company. I wasn't the boss. But anyway, these websites would have like, you know, let's say you want to download the movie Bridesmaids illegally. I just picked a random movie, okay? And so like it would have like 3 links. They'd say like download now, fastest download, HD download. And the person that owned that website was just some POS kid in like, she was like 18 years old in the Maldives or something, you know, like wherever the hell they lived. And these guys, by the way, were making like 50 grand off of us because they'd get paid more on every lead. I'd get the 50 cents, but they'd get more money per lead, per sign up. And so they would get people that way. Download now, but then it would go to our product. And so we used to call it getting binversed. Our product was called Binverse, B-I-N, verse. So Binverse should be in the bin. That's why it was called that. I guess it should be in the bin, man. But nowadays, my wife and I still sometimes to this day will say, you just got Binversed if you got like scammed through something. So these people think they're going to be downloading their Bridesmaids movie illegally. Boom, they have to sign up for a free trial. And it was worded very sketch. Like it would be like, to get the file that you're trying to access, please sign up for the 14-day free trial. You know, like that was how it was done. And it would automatically charge them because it required a credit card. You would not believe how many people fall for this ish. I think now they don't. But back then, a little bit more new, okay? I mean, this was, again, these were distant days, everybody. So I've talked much more about this than I planned to. Really, the point was going to be that they had a whiteboard that they eventually put up, my boss did. I hated this. They put up my numbers. They put up everybody's sales numbers and what you were making in commission. So I would get 300 signups a day, 200 signups a day or so from websites that I had procured. I had gone out and convinced to sign up for this. And so like sometimes I'd get like $2,000 extra a month on top of my salary is pretty damn good for a kid just out of college in 2009, man. Like, I was somewhat of a dipshit too. I apologize for cursing. It's just, like, I had the skills, but what are you going to do with communication, right? Like, that could be anything. So, like, my degree was useless other than just the work that I did for the degree. So I shouldn't say it's useless. I actually really learned a lot in college. Everything else was great, but communication, like, did I need that? No, I learned marketing on the spot. I had never done a lick of marketing, That was all. So, yeah, they put the numbers up on a whiteboard, though. So it's like everybody could see Dr. Kendo, gets 2,000 plus, salary. So it was crazy. All right, I'm going to stop ranting about that, you guys. Thanks for listening to that. Much, much longer than I thought. But essentially, we're going to talk about what happened with that job, but it did enable me to do things like watch YouTube, and I was watching StarCraft 2 commentaries, mostly from Husky StarCraft. Anybody out there? You won't find the same Husky anymore. He's dating Rosanna Pansino, Nerdy Nummies. He's with her and makes completely different videos, so it's not about StarCraft at all these days. But yeah, like, so why the name Dr. Kendo, and then we have DrKendoCommentaries? What was all that about, right? All right, let's get to that. So, Dr. Kendo. There is a channel on YouTube. It's called Dr. Kendo. It's actually now got a different purpose. Now it's my Pokemon Go channel. It's a second channel that was started in 2019, really, if you want to call it that. But that channel was created in 2006. That's when YouTube first, became a platform, didn't it? I mean, you guys probably know better than I do. But yeah, in those early days, that's what I used it for. And so it wasn't until about 2011, again, we started putting up videos, and I just thought, well, I love the Nintendo 64. I've just always loved it, and so I thought, what's the game? Gauntlet Legends. Just the first game I looked at, it was in a pile of games on the N64. I got my N64 out all the time. You guys, it's right over there. Do you see that on the video? I'm pointing to that. So yeah, I'm starting to put my collection back there. I haven't quite gotten that all. If anybody's watching the visual component of this, that'll explain more. I'm pointing to an area and stuff. I've got some N64 game boxes and whatnot up there. But anyway, the point is I loved that system. There is no console, except for the one we're going to get to later, that got me as excited about Nintendo 64. No other console could ever match that. So I did these videos about Gauntlet Legends. You guys, it was nuts. All right, YouTube, this is Dr. Kendo, and I am starting my new series of commentating video games. I know it's a really nerdy concept, but I've seen other videos like this out there, so just giving it a shot, and we're going to start off with Gauntlet Legends. This was a fresh game for the Nintendo 64 way back in the day. They made at least some of this footage. I may have to speed up some or whatever. Just, I don't know if it's people want to watch it just at normal speed or whatever, going through all of this. So I may just speed it up and play some music here.
Any other day I wouldn't think twice. Just stepping outside, I'm rolling the dice. But we've been spending most our lives living in a gauntlet paradise. Fighting the rules, outlaws too, breaking the rules, got things to do. Scorching and taking a life like you, at least a foe I come through. Unlocking the secrets of the rooms, we don't know who begun for who. I blast and blast, I feel the boom, they all will hear me coming through.
The people that had done voice acting work with me, they saw me, they loved my voice and whatnot from that voiceactingalliance.com. They subscribed to my channel, and I didn't even really know it. Like, I kind of had no idea that they were subscribing to me. And so I started YouTube with about 30, 50 subscribers, something like that, which is nuts. Usually you start at 0, right? And then you ask your mom or some shit to subscribe to you. Like, you ask your dog and your wife or whatever, the people, your friend, so... we did do videos about a variety of things. It was just the Gauntlet Legends videos actually had people from the very first one who were subscribed to me that were talking in the comments. They were like, I want to see more. I can remember this comment from somebody named Murcam, Murcam. I don't know if he came by some other name. Maybe he's still on there. Murcam. Man, if you're listening to this, that would be crazy. He's not, but... did some voice acting for one of his projects, I think he was a voice in a project that we mutually did. That was it. He loved my voice. So anyway, I was doing these Gauntlet Legends things, and it was so awkward, dude. You can go back and listen to these. They're all on the channel Dr. Kendo. So again, it's not Dr. Kendo Commentaries. That was Dr. Kendo. And Gauntlet Legends. It was so much fun, but Mario Kart Wii was something that I eventually landed on too, you know, so rest in peace, Voice Acting Alliance. Like, we hit things more steadily with Mario Kart Wii. Everybody knows Mario Kart, right? And so Mario Kart Wii, the thing about it was that it was not a new game. The Wii, it, you know, came out a few years before I started all this. I mean, we can talk, it was like, what, 4 years or something like that? Almost 4 years? Yeah. And so I'll tell you, from the very first game commentary ever, I knew that I wanted music to be like part of the whole experience. And so DrKendo, again, it started as a stage name. So for those who haven't heard the story, I started doing rap rock music in high school. And it was one of these things where I wanted to take my interests. Again, it's just like the YouTube. Like, we were looking for our interests. How can we put them all together? In music, I was like, what is my name going to be? You know? And so I landed on DrKendo because I was thinking about martial arts. It was just something I was interested in, watching Bruce Lee flicks. And I did a little bit of karate when I was a kid. I hadn't actually really gotten into a whole lot of different martial arts, but I was always interested in the discrepancies, knowing whatever I could about them and learning from it. And so Kendo could be a name, but like, imagine me just being called Kendo. It's fine if somebody calls me that, but like, if somebody's searching for that, they're going to find the actual martial art, the sport, the martial art of Kendo, and it would just be too complicated, I think. For like rap, to have the rap portion of the rock, you know, I wanted rock, but I was also doing rap. There had to be something. And so it was DrKendo, you know, DrKendo. Like, it just worked, dude. Dr. K. Like, it's just something about it seems so magical, because I was just thinking through, you know, like jujitsu, like that's Brazilian a little bit, you know, like you couldn't be Dr. Karate. Like, none of these sounded good, right? But Kendo, DrKendo, it just hit. And so it was wonderful. Lots of albums, okay? So like, before doing YouTube, probably about 3 albums that I did. And then I did some before I was DrKendo, where I was just a poop skilled rapper. I had like no skills and stuff. I had to learn it all. I was self-taught completely. Helped a lot in doing the YouTube thing, okay? But Mario Kart Wii, like I said, it's where I made the lifelong friends. Still to this day, friends with really like each one of those people for the most part. Knew we wanted music to be there. There were lots of great things going on, like at this stage of life, and then there were some things that were painful. So like, here's where the meat and potatoes of the podcast really should be, is like, yeah, I'm going down memory lane. We have to establish all that stuff, but what's sort of going on in the process, like behind the scenes while we're creating. So I'm going to tie each thing, hopefully, back to what was going on in life outside of it. So it's like, here, fact, history, podcast part, then what was happening outside of that, okay? So sort of marry those two thoughts together. We knew that my mom had breast cancer, so this was like a thing that's going to become important a little bit later. She was withering, but it wasn't especially bad yet. Like the year 2011, it was like bad, but not like just completely awful. So forgive me, it's a little bit painful. Like, I didn't realize how painful that is to just bring that up. I talk about it a lot in therapy, so I'm a little bit surprised, because I feel some pain discussing this. So again, some of this is going to be like a little bit, you know, I hope not to be awkward or anything. But like I say, like, there were some great things. Like, so I was doing these videos, Mario Kart Wii. This was going really well. I was set to propose to my wife. I proposed to her on October 1st, 2011. At the time, I hadn't really, like, I was creating in July, actually, of 2011, so it's interesting because I started DrKendoCommentaries July of 2012. We are going to get to that, trust me. But the point being, though, that I was, like, creating, okay, for, like, the summer, and then I kind of stopped for a little while, just for, like, a month, and so I was making these videos. You can go back and see all of this, okay? Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo, and I figured I would make a little video, or maybe it won't be so little when it's all done with, but one that explains just kind of an update of what I've been doing and why the long hiatus. And it's amazing, why I am engaged. I actually proposed to my girlfriend. Here you've got a picture of the ring that I bought her. She loved it, so I was calling. They will be coming up soon. So anyway, I'll catch you on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. So like, some of this on the produced version of this podcast, I may play like little clips too. So if you're watching this live, I really do appreciate you for being here and supporting me through that. But just know that like that is going to be a component of when this is all just a produced end product and stuff. And so, like I say, I was going to propose. And so I guess I should explain how I did that, because that's like a really cool story. But basically I was creating videos and stopped for a while, and it was like a great time of life for that. Like, my mom's breast cancer was painful, of course, but like this was a great time. I was going to propose to my wife. Like, that's awesome. I had gotten enough money from that job that I was working where I was making that commission and everything. So cool, right? Like, I can get the ring myself. I didn't have to like ask for my parents' help. I could afford it and stuff. This was like the only time I could afford stuff in my life, and it got taken away from me. So we're going to talk about that pretty soon. But yeah, I did a video on October 4th that talked about the proposal, so people can see that if you are looking for it. It's on the DrKendo channel, October 4th, 2011. But like, this is the kind of videos I was making. I was so, like, the audience was about 100 subscribers at this point, maybe a little bit under, and I was so in tune. I had enough time to talk to them. It's just one channel, and I wasn't doing videos like every day. I was doing them like twice a month. Back then that worked on YouTube. Like, things were so much more chill. There's nothing like when you first get started with your channel. Like, you never reach that again after you succeed on YouTube. That's the closest I got with people. Like I said, I'm such deep friends. Does anybody know Steph of Anime? Like, I would die for this person. Wally Win, the Crimson Knight, Jomo Do. Like, that was the Task Force 5, by the way, for those who know them. I was getting so deeply connected to these people. They were friends. This is why I would make videos that were just like about an update. Like, I think that was called like update about my life. Like, why I haven't been uploading, like October 4th. And I hadn't uploaded in like a month. So it's like, that's not a big deal. But I was like talking about my birthdays with my wife. Like, it was so casual. It was so just like, we're just buddies, no algorithm. We're just talking, like, isn't that so cool when you think about it? But yeah, it was like really cringe to go back and see it and hear it, but like, wow, was I happy, I was really happy. I was making enough money to afford things. That's like huge. I wasn't making any money on YouTube, by the way. Like, that doesn't come till much later, and it messes with things. But that's a happy thing that was going on. Got back into creating a little bit more. This is where I got like into a more regular flow, was when I found an entity called Necessary Gaming. So Necessary Gaming in the early days of YouTube was huge, okay? And so I do want to talk about that. I did just want to say that if you're watching this live, we are actually going to take a break, and I'm going to chat with you guys there in the live stream. So we're going to like put a pause on all the recordings and all of that. Thank you so much for watching KendoCast, listening to KendoCast. We were just about to get into the story of Necessary Gaming. Some of the early days of YouTube. This was, you got to think about like the rules for AdSense were different too. Like the rules for video games and on YouTube were still being established. So keep in mind the time frame. We're talking 2011, and it's really nuts because there was a company, or let's just call it's one man, and he created a website called Necessary Gaming and a YouTube channel to go along with it. And the first video on this Necessary Gaming was a video that was called Get Paid to Play Video Games. It wasn't that simple back then on YouTube, so you had to do this step. If you've heard of an MCN, Necessary Gaming was an MCN, one of the earliest, which is a multi-channel network. Nowadays, you don't need that. Like, a lot of MCNs are like a ripoff. I'm so sorry to people who work for an MCN that I know, because I've gotten connected to some, man. We're going to talk about that, too, in future episodes of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoy that, but it's just nuts, because Necessary Gaming was the springboard to anything being what I would consider like good views for a starting YouTuber. So you got to remember, I had about like 125 subscribers at this point, and joining Necessary Gaming, I was one of the creators. You essentially audition by just sending in one of your videos. Like, all you do is just give them a link. And this guy, Alex Adams, I don't know if he's going to ever hear this and stuff. Alex was a really cool person and everything, but wow, as an MCN, like kind of a scam. But Alex was getting scammed too, because he was essentially, he was partnered with Broadband TV. Broadband TV still owns my channel right here, this one that I'm doing the podcast from. And so Broadband TV is the biggest of the big. You know, think about like the Time Warner Spectrums and stuff like that. Broadband TV's up there. And so, yeah, I need to get out of that contract because my contract keeps renewing when I don't think about it. So yeah, it'll happen one day. And MCN gets a portion of your revenue and allows you to monetize and stuff like that. But like I say, nowadays you do not need that. Back then, to do video game content, you really did need it, because here's what happened and why there's a DrKendo and then a DrKendo Commentaries. We're going a little bit out of order, so I'll sort of rewind back to this moment, you guys. We really do need to come back to this moment, actually. So we'll rewind back to where we are. But anyway, the DrKendo channel, it got AdSense banned. It got banned because of doing video game content. I really don't have a reason why it got banned to this day that's specific. It was saying that I was re-uploading other people's content, which I was not, other than I was doing video games. And so again, this was the early, distant days of YouTube, you guys. It's just nuts, okay? And so Necessary Gaming. Rewind. So Necessary Gaming came into my life, and it was essentially just like a platform where my videos that I was already doing on my channel were also being pushed out to this audience of Necessary Gaming that got about 50,000 subscribers or so. At that time, that's huge. Huge. It was also backed up by a website. The website had a forum. It had a chat area. It's all this stuff that a 2011 internet user, would want. It eventually had a radio show, Necessary FM. They had some other people who, not really built for the radio, they were doing it, but eventually got me. I was the radio host. So I did host a radio show for about a year called Necessary FM. It would appear on there. I would make the announcements whenever they wanted to accept a new creator as part of their program. Imagine, having a new creator sign on like me, when I first signed on. I got in at ground level, so it was nice. But we'd be listening to this new dubstep and stuff. I would just take the requests of people, what they wanted to hear and all that. And, yeah, we had a music themed thing. Sometimes there'd be video game theme songs and stuff. Family Jewel 7X, you guys, some of y'all know. It was cool, man. I wish I could go back to the radio days of that. There was no money. There was no money thoughts. This was about trying to have fun. This was about, I wanted to build my channel. There was absolutely that in my mind. But I was working that job, dude. I had things covered on the money side. My girlfriend, now fiance at the time, she was great. She knew she was going to go to grad school after college. Life was just sort of heading in that direction that it should, except my mom had breast cancer. We had a wedding to pay for. It was going to be expensive, but we wanted to do it right. We'll talk about that. But eventually Necessary Gaming would also lead me to go to my first ever E3. This is huge. We're going to come back to this actually in the next episode of the podcast, because that happened in 2013. And this podcast obviously appropriately titled The Beginning in 2012. And so we're not going to really cover too much of anything that doesn't fit within those years. And so Necessary Gaming was great. People loved my voice. That was the thing. My voice alone probably makes me about $10,000 or so a year. Maybe not these days, because I make a lot less. My YouTube channels, maybe all three of them might scoot by to get about $10,000 a year. So that could be my voice. I guess that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I'm just telling you, my voice was the appeal. I think people that didn't like Mario Kart didn't... Who doesn't like Mario Kart? You got to be kind of soulless, I feel like. Sorry if I'm insulting anybody out there, but I guess what I mean is that people love Mario Kart, people like it, but if you just didn't play it or weren't interested in the content, you were interested in my voice. My voice was the draw. It was crazy. So this all just kind of continued my Mario Kart Wii series here with Necessary Gaming now. And what I did, this was a huge compliment, okay? I still remember this comment to this day. I don't remember the person who left it, so I do apologize. Smash Killer, was this you? We got a person watching right now. If you're listening to this after the fact, watching it after the fact, Smash Killer, the only person that's been at my channel since the absolute day one. every single Dr. Kendo thing ever. So I don't know. I don't think this was Smash Killer, though. Somebody commented to me saying, quote, "You interact with your subscribers on such a deep and close level." He was like saying how insane that was. End quote, I guess. That's something that I made an effort to continue to this exact day. And I believe I remained very, very close up until this point with that. And so another example is what started up after Necessary Gaming and after I had gotten all this going is that we're starting to get very close to 2012 now. And I was doing birthday raps. So does anybody remember birthday raps? If you do, you are an OG. You are a Smash Killer level OG. You can still see some of these. I am very embarrassed by these, okay? Like, birthday raps is like very cringe, but it's a cool concept for helping people, okay? So the birthday raps got started because somebody named Leroy Jethro, yes, still remember the first one, of course, Leroy Jethro. He asked in a comment, he knew I made music because it was all over my commentaries, it's all over the video production and stuff. And so, Leroy Jethro just kind of said like, "Hey, I know your wife sings. I know you make music. Could you guys make me a song for my birthday?" I'm sorry if that sounds like bragging, or I forget the word that he used. He used like a different word, but he just said like, "I'm sorry if that's like full of myself." And I said, "Hell no, that's awesome. Let's do it. Let's do it."
YouTube's Leroy Jethro had a request so creative. Now I'm here with this rap for the Houston, Texas native. He loves video games and hey, so do I. LOZ, SSB, Mario, and KI. Now we can tackle our way into the chorus, no doubt. But I'm level 15 plus, so I'd rather roll out.
We're here to say,
For a helpful guy who deserves it this way.
June 3rd's the day.
For Leroy Jethro's happy birthday. It's a Leroy Jethro! Happy birthday! Do you have a birthday coming up next? Let us know in the comments.
And so the birthday raps got started. It was June 3rd was his birthday, so I had about 2 weeks to come up with a rap. I only needed a few days, something like that, to just write the lyrics, get the video, and then edit it. And it was very much inspired by Diss Raps for Hire, if you know Epic Lloyd from the Epic Rap Battles of History. But some of you guys know that, ERB, early days of YouTube as well, man. But yeah, I was a little bit inspired by those, but like, instead of dissing people, we were building them up. That's what I do. You know what I mean? That's what I love to do. Even to the Pokemon Unite days. That's my newest channel that happened about a year ago as I record this, almost. And, it's all about building other people up. It's not about building myself up. It's about what I always feel like people are designed to be loving. And we get distracted by that from the value systems that get overly promoted at the expense of basic humanity. So, again, we're designed to like help people and love each other and all of that, and that's what makes me happy. It's not like chasing for money, whether I get it or not. Like, that doesn't really make me happy. So anyway, birthday raps, this dude loved it. He just gave me some information. Like, he was like, "I like Pokemon, my favorite one is Fampy, I'll be turning 16, this, that, and the other," and it's all laid out in a rap. This is really cool. The raps like still stand up today, as far as the beats, as far as the lyrics. It's just cringe, okay? Like, it's just a little bit cringe. Like, maybe it's not. To me, it's just I cringe a little bit. It's like I'm rapping about other people's birthdays. I guess that's cool. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to insult anyone. So that, again, is just representative of how deep this interaction got with me and subscribers, me and viewers, It's not just about me. It's about other people. That's what it is. I was a tour guide in college. Like, I did tours every week, so many days. You don't get paid for that, okay? A lot of people are like, "How much you get paid to be a tour guide?" I'm like, 0.0. And so I loved it. I loved being a tour guide, dude. This was people's first experience with the college campus. Sometimes I wanted that to be a great experience. Like, that's what I liked about my YouTube channel, it's like the birthday raps. I want this to be a great experience. It's about your experience. It should be a little bit about mine, but like, that's my experience, is helping you. So the thing about the Mario Kart Wii series in conjunction with birthday raps and that comment, that's like saying, you interact on such a deep, deep level. the Mario Kart Wii thing, I hit somewhat big for a game that's really old at that point. The Wii was old. You know, we were 1 year away from the Wii U coming, if that paints a picture. So the generation was like lost, not getting like views or anything. But yeah, so it's like I got some pretty decent views for somebody with like 100-something subscribers, and then Necessary Gaming boosted me up like a lot. And I was doing it every Sunday. I was uploading every Sunday at this point instead of once or twice a month. Upload every week. Maybe do a birthday rap thrown in there where we upload 2-3 times a week. You know? Starting to get the work piling up. Had a job still, of course. And we're going to get to that, actually. But I did just want to kind of end off the Mario Kart Wii thought with what made that like really special was the voice, sure. I know that that's bragging, but it was about answering people's questions. So like one day somebody just asked a question, just like, who's your favorite character and stuff. And I was like, let's make that like what the video's about, you know? Because like there's only so much you could talk about Mario Kart Wii. I mean, maybe you can make it fresh and exciting. I was like usually yelling, and I would replace curse words with the sounds of Mario characters. So like instead of saying the word ass, it'd be Wario going, ah, like the setup for his laugh, like, ah, ha, 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 you know, that Wario laugh. And so the ah part of that would go with the word ass. And I didn't even really want to censor it that much. It was just like funny because you could still tell the word was ass, like, you know what I mean? So it's like ass, you know, like that, like is kind of how it came out, like as I would say it. And each one had their own thing, like the F word had, you know, its own character, like Luigi going, ho ho, you know, something like that. And so it was fun, but it needed more, and that was it. It was the answering questions from the viewers. Relating to subscribers like that was huge. Back then, you could actually leave an annotation. It wasn't an end screen. You could leave an annotation on any part of the video. So not just end screens that are only at the end, the last like 20 seconds, I think. I would link to their channel, which they would like. Sometimes you'd get like a little 8-year-old or 9-year-old kid who would ask a question and wanted that shout out so badly. I was like a big YouTuber to this person. At this point, you think we have about 300 subscribers, you know, coming up on that. Like we're building, right? Slowly but surely. And so this like 9-year-old kid would be like, oh my gosh, a 300 subscriber YouTuber like shouted me out, you know, but I was answering their question like about who was my favorite character, something Mario Kart theory. It could have been about anything, you know, they could ask questions about anything. It was really cool. And so we would link back to their channel. And so that all is going to lead us into the Wii U and SCRIBBLENAUTS, all that stuff that I'm talking about. But before we do, here's like the really important part of where pain starts to step in a little bit here. So you guys know about my job. I had this the whole time, and this fateful day, fateful, it's not faithful at all, not at all faithful, but this fateful day, February 2012, early on in the month, the German investors came to the United States office where we worked. We were not expecting them at all, completely by surprise. Somebody even talked to me. We all use Skype within the company to like chat sometimes if you didn't want to like walk over to someone's desk and talk to them. And so they use Skype. They Skyped me, and one of the coworkers said, "Who are the Suits?" And I knew them because I had met them one time. They had come to the company shortly after I had made it as the top dog there. And so the Suits showing up was really weird. My boss was like freaked out because his bosses showed up unannounced. And so they closed the door, and we all got called in, and basically my boss said, like, the company is shutting down. We had, like, a good hit, you know, but essentially what I think happened is, like, everybody became, they got wise to the fact that we were selling poop. You know what I mean? We were selling garbage. It was absolute flotsam, you guys. Binverse. Like, this is ridiculous that it was making this much money for this amount of people. I mean, you got to think, there was a dude that would Skype me. That was one of the BitTorrent website owners, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just on my yacht for the 3rd day in a row." You know, like he would say stuff like that. Like he was just like, you know, I just put in some work, but I'm on my yacht enjoying life. You know, he's like, he would like tell me to enjoy life. I'm like, yeah, well, it says you from your like martinis and yacht and this little 17-year-old shit, you know, or 18-year-old kid in some other country. We were making them huge money. I was making enough, like I told you guys. So I had a wedding to pay for. All this stuff was coming up. We had set a wedding date, September 1st, 2012. Here it is, February 2012. The wedding's getting closer and closer. And I was making a little bit less money, but I was still making commission leading up to all this, like there were some changes. People were starting to get wise to the shit we were selling them. And it just didn't work. The German investors, they had tons of companies. They didn't really care about this one. They liked the money. But once that money drove up, it's a short-term business model that they ran. You think about like Japanese businesses, maybe a smart American business, some smart business looks at a long-run picture. If they want to survive, at least, you got to be resilient. It takes a lot. They were just in it for the quick buck. Like, let's milk as much as we can out of this short amount of time. Boy, did they do that, man. They did it. Schlocking crap, It was a non-product. So, anyway, they shut the company like that. We didn't have you can work for another 2 weeks. We had severance pay for a month. It was just salary. It was not like commission because you're not getting a commission. The salary was garbage, so it's not like that gave me anything. And I did get to keep my keyboard and my equipment and stuff. So I still have the same exact keyboard from that day. This is a wireless Microsoft keyboard. You can look at how dirty it is, dude. This is still that same keyboard from that job. I liked that job. My wife was upset by it sometimes. She would be like, "You're tricking people, who think they're getting a download and they're not." I was like, "Yeah, but these people are pieces of garbage too. They're trying to download movies illegally. You know what I mean? They're trying to download music illegally. And let's be real, a lot of us use LimeWire and Kazaa, so I'm not getting that deep. I'm just saying, if my wife came at me with that, I'd be like, hey, I'm throwing off the criminals. I try to justify it, but I like the job, dude. I was doing YouTube. I would leave at 3 p.m. because I could come in at 7 a.m. I loved it. It was so flex. The people there treated me like garbage. I was treated like garbage. I hated that my name was up on the whiteboard. They made fun of me because I didn't drink, didn't smoke. I was not a cultural fit in that regard. But during the interview for that job, I talked about my knowledge of Futurama because you had to be a geek, you had to be a nerd, you had to know where they lived on the internet. And so Futurama trivia was part of my interview process, and it landed me the job. Clearly, I didn't have any sales or marketing experience. So, point being, rug pulled out from underneath. That changed all of my thinking. Suddenly, I'm in scarcity mode. I've got a wedding. My wife is not working. She's younger than me. She was in school. She's not working. If she was, it was maybe you pick up a summer job or an internship here, those types of things. It's not really a lot of money. And obviously I had rent, I was living on my own. I wasn't with my parents or anything. 2012, my mom's breast cancer is getting a lot worse. I mean, we're talking a lot worse. If you know anybody who's died of cancer, really that last year, sometimes it can be last few months, can really accelerate things. So yeah, it's a lot of pain here with this time period. And so I was making these videos still, trying to have some kind of joy, and I was thinking, wow, birthday wraps, I can make money on these. I could make 10 cents. That's what I'd make, And so I tried to monetize the whole channel at that point with AdSense, and that's when the ban hit me pretty fast. It took a few months, I guess. Hit me pretty fast though. But that was another thing that happened, just like my job. I was still applying to places. I was lost. I was doing a voice acting thing at my old college, my alma mater. I went there and did actually a theater show. If anybody's heard of Man on the Internet, that channel actually got started after mine, but has surpassed mine. Brilliant person, theater kid named Alex. So I know Alex in real life from Man on the Internet. Name dropping here, but Man on the Internet was the lead role. We did the show Don Quixote, and I was the bad guy. I was the bad guy villain priest. I was also a shepherd, and I was I was just random bit parts too. So I was kind of the main character as well, because I was the bad guy. I could do voices. This was a really cool theater show because everybody was blindfolded in the audience, and it was all based on your voice. So I could play whoever I wanted. No one would see me. I've never done theater in a real way. Past that, of course, I was in elementary school production, and stuff when I was a kid. But I hadn't really done the higher level of theater, and I would consider this at least somewhat, it wasn't paid or anything, I'm just saying. So the first rehearsal for that show happened 2 days after I lost my job. you know? And it was such a weird time because, like, here I am. I need to work. Scarcity is kicking in. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to afford the wedding, my rent, I'm not going to be able to afford to, like, be spending my time doing YouTube. Not going to be able to afford spending my time playing Mario Kart with these people that I, like, had genuinely made real connections with. My mom was dying. I was trying to be with her. There's a lot of pain that's associated with this. I apologize. I don't want to break up too much, okay? So, like, I don't really mind. I think everybody knows I don't mind crying. I don't mind getting real with people, but I just do want to preserve my voice for the podcast. So, you know, forgive me for just taking a second. But this was like a weird time, right? I hope that I'm painting the right picture here. Because, like, as we're trying to build up this YouTube thing, like, everything else was being swept up. The rug was pulled out from under my feet. That's what I'm trying to say, you know? It was so viciously sudden in my life that this all was happening. So just as you, like, rise for several years, it can just come crashing down so fast. And we're going to make parallels to this in the upcoming episodes of the podcast. We're going to talk about the rise and fall of the channel. Because like I said at the start, if you were here at the very start of this podcast, I talked about all those things that we did, all those number accomplishments, all those people's lives that we changed, everything. And that too came crashing and burning, like somewhat a little bit slower than this, but it still felt fast. We'll try to sort of like wrap up a lot of these thoughts with one last topic that was happy. Of course, getting married, right? So we're going to do that. And then a topic on the channel. So we're going to once again tie back to both of these things. So here's sort of our last segment, okay? Don't leave. We're still going, okay? But I thank you for sticking around. I thank everybody for listening. This is my first podcast ever. Never done something that's a podcast. I've done radio, done YouTube, done Twitch, whatever. So this all leads us to a time in 2012, the summer. I'm applying for jobs. I don't know what the hell. And I'm getting these jobs. Like, I got a job working for a telecommunications company doing marketing again, but it was like email marketing. It only took me about 2 months to find that job. And then it took me about 2 months to lose that job. This dude hired me and didn't have enough money to keep me from the start. So he paid me garbage, but I was looking for a job. I was looking for anything. And I was interviewing at places like Facebook. I was interviewing at like big companies. And they were taking me. Like, I made it to the interview, but something happened. I think that I was really in my head during the interviews. The interviews were tough, which normally they're not for me. You guys know who I am. Like, I think I can charm people. At least I could back then. Now I'm like a shell of who I was probably. But like back then, God, like, that's why I was a tour guide. I could, like, charm people really well. And I don't mean in some, like, conniving way. Legitimately. Like, I was a personality that people wanted to talk to. And I was not getting the jobs, you know? Maybe they were just highly competitive. It was a bunch of things. So, again, that just creates more of that scarcity. Creates a lot of hardship in my mind. You know, I had a lot of savings from that first job, so that was the saving grace, because I could pay for my rent out of my savings. It was draining. It was making me nervous, but I could pay for it. And then get that job with the telecommunications, and then 2 months later, the dude says, well, I just can't continue this. Like, I can't keep affording you. I thought when I hired you, like, we would get just a ton more of our email sales, a bunch more email leads and things. And we just weren't. A lot of people, the thing about that is that, like, we were putting out research about, like, the mobile industry, highly competitive. This dude was charging hundreds of dollars for his research stuff, and there were, like, websites charging, like, 20 or 30 for it, you know? Some people giving it away for free, all that. So, bad news, right? So then I was working temp jobs. I got with a temporary staffing agency at the end of the summer, and they connected me with a company called Zilliant. I guess it's like Brilliant and Zillion. I've never quite understood where did that name come from, right? Zilliant. Zilliant is like a pricing optimization and sales optimization pipeline software. And I did data entry and cleanup of their data and whatnot. The reason that I'm mentioning this specifically is because we come back to this, and I go to work for them again. About a year later. So we'll talk about that in the 2013 podcast. But now, if you want to paint a picture of like where we are in time, September rolls around, September 1st, and somehow I feel like I wouldn't be able to do this nowadays, but I was able to forget everything and just enjoy my wedding. I was working for Zillion Temp, and they let me go get married and have a week off for my honeymoon. It's like, I had just started with this Zillion on a temp. Again, I was a temp, so I was not a full-time employee or anything. I would work like kind of full-time hours, but it was a little flexible. I was just doing data entry. Nobody really cared a whole lot about me. They were nice, okay? So like, I'm just saying, it wasn't one of those things, right? Where it's like, wait, you just worked for us and now you want to leave like for your wedding for a week? Like, no, it wasn't like that. Like, it was all good. So I felt okay, I think, because of that, but I went to go marry the best person I have seriously ever met. Like, my wife is like the coolest. She respects me so much. She like thinks the world of me. Like there are some people out there that just like can be so vicious. Even my own family has done things that are so cruel. But my wife just loves me with all of her heart. She's the greatest person, and I love her so much. I'm so sorry. And so I married her on September 1st, 2012, and it was just the greatest day in the world. It was the coolest thing.
Almighty God, we ask for your special blessing on us on our wedding day. Thank you for bringing us together and helping us to grow in our love for each other. Thank you so much for giving me a person as loving and kind-hearted as
DrKendo!
He is the most genuinely good person that I have ever met in my entire life. He does not seek rewards for good deeds, and his motivation to do the right thing comes from his heart, not from any outside forces. He is very understanding and compassionate. He is also extremely fun. Thank you for letting me find someone as silly, dramatic, and even as childlike as myself. I once heard that you should marry someone who will make you laugh. And I know that when I was
DrKendo!
I will be laughing for the rest of my life.
I thank you for the positivity that shines through
Mrs. Kendo.
and the joy-filled heart she has, making every day a blessing to be around her. I can't make it through this. That was the first sentence.
And so then I went on my honeymoon and we went to Disney World, and I'm so sorry, everybody. It was really great. It was like the best time of my life. I knew back home, though, like I was going to go back to this temporary job and my mom dying and, just that pain. I'm so sorry. But it was the best thing that I ever did. And so, I'm trying to just recollect myself. I'm sorry. People don't like to hear, like, when your voice, cracks and all this stuff. So that was really painful to talk about because I know how great she is, how great life was right there, but also what was to come. And also how painful all this other stuff was, right? And so our registry for our honeymoon, it was a really great thing because people could put money into experiences for Disney World. Our honeymoon, our registry was not like, oh, buy us a pot or like a towel, Like it was like spent on the experience. That was beautiful. That is a life lesson, okay? Like if you cling to money, which I tended to do after these experiences, and because I learned that from my mom was like a penny pincher. She would act like she had no money when she had plenty, That's why money hurts. Money hurts a lot for me. It doesn't make me happy, and it rules my life sometimes, and I don't like it. But that was amazing. So to spend money, like someone would put in $100 to our dining plan while we were there. Food is expensive and you're lodging in Disney World. So like they got a specific bullet list and like pictures of things that it would get us in Disney World. We wore the ears, the Mickey ears, but they had like a bride and groom version. That was $15. One of my wife's friends put the money in for that.
And that gave us so much free stuff. People would just walk up and be like, I'm so happy that you guys got married. You know, they're like saying, congratulations. Here's our fast pass because we're not going to go ride that. They would give us their ticket to get a fast pass. We didn't have to pay for it. We got put up in the front of every show. The Lion King show, you know, whatever. They'd say, hey, come sit up in the front with us. I got to be that guy. Has anybody ever done the Monsters, Inc. show? I don't know if they still do this, but like, there's a point where they keep coming out to people in the audience with the camera. So you're watching a screen and like Mike Wazowski's talking and they go to people in the audience for stuff like, you know, a guy that's dressed some way or whatever. And then they're like, I was that guy. So there's a part of the show that they continuously go back to that guy. And so I got a sticker and I held on to this sticker for my life. It's upstairs, but it says, I was that guy in Disney's Monsters, Inc. show. That's what the sticker says, and it's got Mike Wazowski with like a thumbs up. So I got to do that. The ears, man. The ears were powerful. So I encourage everybody who hasn't gotten married yet, everybody who goes on a honeymoon anniversary, anything, to wear those ears to Disney. Sorry for the tangent. But we would get back home. My dad would pick us up from the airport, and I would find that my mom's in the hospital. Meanwhile, we also got Apple. I think you guys just saw him come in and then leave. So that was very interesting that he came in right now. I believe in stuff like that. That's always like a sign that the universe gives you because it reminded me about Apple. Apple was abandoned by some people at the apartment complex that my wife and I first lived at ever. So it was our first time to live together and first apartment ever together. Some people abandoned Apple, left him outside. His fur was matted. He had fleas. He was so happy, but gosh, he was treated terribly. He was 4 months old, approximately. He's a Labradoodle, but he's not a designer. He has Lab, Poodle, about 15% of like mixed breeds and other stuff. Alaskan Klekai, Leonberger, you know, all of that. They abandoned him. What the hell is wrong with people, man? So this dog just found me one day when I was getting breakfast tacos and came home, and there he was. He picked me. I did not pick him. He found me and he said, well, I guess I'm your dog now, because he just followed me everywhere. I went up to my door with the keys and I'm just looking down at this like little puppy. My wife always wanted a black dog. She had a black Cocker Spaniel when she was growing up. It was named Macintosh. She wanted a black dog named Apple. There it is. Isn't that amazing? So if you believe in God, if you don't, if you believe in like fate, that was power. Apple found his way to our life then. While I'm trying to do this YouTube thing, while I'm losing my jobs, while all this stuff is, you know, now I have a new life to take care of. They say, like, God doesn't he only puts the amount that you can handle in front of you. If you believe in God, I've heard of that before. This was that. Man, was I being challenged in life. But it was like stuff I could actually handle. It was there teaching me a lesson. I say Apple, though, because the first thing we walk into in our apartment complex with... We got Apple boarded, okay? So, like, it was a long time for him to be alone, you know, so we got him boarded at a great place. It's a place with, like, acres of land and stuff. We had to drive a crap ton of miles out of town, you know, to do it, but it was a good place and it's cheap. So, anyway, Apple went there. My dad was the one to pick him up because they have hours, sort of like a hotel, check-in, check-out. So, my dad had to pick him up, then pick us up from the airport. The small amount of time that Apple was in our apartment, he destroyed everything. Apple was a puppy. He ate my headphones. These headphones, I love. They cost so much money now because you just don't find them anymore. And I love this style. I don't know what it is. I've talked about it in the past, but we're not going to go on that tangent. Apple ate the only pair that I had. I had to find some online. Still got them. But he ate a jump rope all up. He ate some of my wife's underwear. He ate everything. He ate mouse food. We had pet mice. And... I think we didn't have the mice anymore, if I recall, but we had the food. He ate that. Complete destruction. But also my dad said, you know, your mom's in the hospital. The cancer. It was just too much for her. And so it's like I'm on this wonderful trip back to reality, you know, back to the pain. Luckily, I still had that temp job for me. I knew it was temp. It was tough. What's interesting is that I look back on that job and think, like, that was great. Working temp, like, just when I needed the money, like, that would be great. It's only great when that's not your circumstance. the grass is always greener, right? Because like it was great back then. I mean, it was great now thinking about it because like I have other sources of income, but I need more all the time. So like that would be a good thing, a temp job. But back then I needed a full-time job. So that's why I'm saying back then it was not great, but it was all I could get at the time. It was getting my resume and it was an opportunity. So, you know, as I said, next podcast we'll be talking about that. But yeah, essentially, like, you know, all this pain, my mom got out of the hospital, luckily, but it was never the same after that. Like, they just said, like, you cannot take chemo anymore. Your body's just too weak. It just cannot do this anymore. You're too out of shape. And the chemo, she was a little bit old, but she died when she was 63, you guys. Like, it was too soon, of course. I was in my 20s. And so we'll end with this last topic. This is where, like, the story only begins, okay? So, like, everything that I'm telling you just now leads to the creation of the channel Dr. Kendo Commentaries. I had the AdSense ban. I guess I didn't fully explain that. So I got banned, but then Necessary Gaming, that place I was working with, they said, like, we need someone to run our social media. I said, I'll do it. And they said, hey, if you're doing something like this, I can probably get you to be monetized, you know, with an MCN, with us. Broadband TV, but like as an employee, we can like get you paid basically. So I got to monetize my channel, but I had to move everybody from Dr. Kendo. I had about 415 subscribers, I think, 425. I had to move them all to Dr. Kendo Commentaries in July of 2012. Some of you may know that. You're going to see it as the first video on this channel that we're streaming from. Dr. Kendo Commentaries, the first video is kind of just like a welcome and update and all that. That's what the first video is.
Hello again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo Commentaries. I'm not going to say that every time on this new channel, just for this intro video. Welcome to the new Dr. Kendo Commentaries channel. This is where all of the Dr. Kendo content is going to be from now on. So I'll catch you on the next vid. Thanks for viewing.
And so if you didn't know any better, that's the first video I ever made on YouTube, but it wasn't because of this story. But yeah, that's why I always say this channel started in July of 2012. And that's true. It's not a lie. It's just when I started YouTube was 2011. Coincidentally, July, I believe. But anyway, yeah, so I got to earn money through YouTube. God, it was about like 30 cents, you know? Like each month, it'd be like $10 to $30. Started to build up a little bit over time. We'll get to that next podcast. But yeah, so I was able to finally monetize on that while I was looking for work, of course. You got to have some other work. And so ultimately, kind of the last thing that happened was the Wii U was set to launch. The Wii U, I think of like the Nintendo 64. Never had I been so excited about a console launch than for Wii U. Maybe YouTube built some of that up for me. Like maybe some of that excitement came from the fact that I was doing YouTube. So like there was a new element to just doing video games and enjoying video game culture and life, right? So like certainly part of that might have been it, but like I loved everything about the Wii U. I'm going to be honest, you guys, like I really find it to be legitimately a great console. A lot of people blame the marketing. I'm going to blame that too, but like I still also don't understand how people did not understand that the Wii U was not the Wii. It's like, was it really that hard? You know, they specifically said, like, this is not the Wii, it's our next console, the Wii U. Somehow people, like, didn't get it. They wanted to get the Wii buyer, which the Wii was mass. You remember that. The Wii got people 60 and 70 years old playing video games. Wii Sports, you know, people who had never touched video games in their lives. A lot more women, although women were starting to get in the industry a lot more, which was a great thing leading up to that already. But the Wii, it was incredible. Gamers of all kinds, experienced and non-experienced. Amazing. Great job. I've always loved Nintendo, but that was a huge thing. So Nintendo 64 really revolutionized things, I think. Really brought things to that 3D gaming kind of platforming space. Graphics really brought us into the new age, you know, of gaming. The Wii sort of like did, you know, innovation and all that, but like the Wii U to me was the time of so many franchises that became, they are beloved, right? So if you love Mario Kart 8, like it's a huge seller on the Switch. It sold meh, like on the Wii U because the Wii U just didn't sell that good. But Mario Kart 8 started on the Switch. I mean, on the Wii U, I'm so sorry. I'm starting to lose my mind. It started on the Wii U. So many of your Switch titles that you love got a start on the Wii U. Splatoon, completely new IP, you know, got through that. The Wii U was incredible. And so a good old game called SCRIBBLENAUTS. I knew SCRIBBLENAUTS. I knew the franchise because the DS I got a DS when I was in college. I was a late adopter to the DS. I got it because of Nintendogs. I finally got in. I finally jumped onto the ship of DS. It took me a long time, you guys. DS was huge. It sold massively. But SCRIBBLENAUTS, it was on the DS in 2009. Amazing game. You can pull up anything from the dictionary, and it appears on screen right there for you. You try to solve puzzles. You know, somebody needs their cat saved from a tree. Well, you could just summon a ladder and climb that and get the cat out of the tree, or you could be like creative. You could get a fishing pole, fish the cat out of the tree. You could get like a mouse, and the cat will chase the mouse out of the tree. Think about all these things, right? It's like your creativity with any word in the dictionary. Cool, cool stuff. So SCRIBBLENAUTS Unlimited was the game that would change mine and many of your lives forever. It would change us. SCRIBBLENAUTS Unlimited came out on the Wii U in 2012. It was in November, I guess, was the launch time. I was doing unboxing videos. I did everything about the Wii U. I did Nintendo Land videos. You can go back and see these. These are all on the channel. Making a me, the Wii U. It was amazing. 2-screen experience. Hadn't really been done before that way. DS was sort of the predecessor for a 2-screen experience, but yeah. SCRIBBLENAUTS Unlimited, though, had the object editor. And so early on, I knew that, and I said, hey, let's do this principle that we've done our entire YouTube life, which is connect with the viewers. How can we connect with the viewers in a way that will get them something that they want while I can produce content? So what that manifested into would be the thing that changed my life. It did huge on YouTube. All those things that I mentioned at the start, 200,000 subscribers, 68 million overall video views, all those opportunities that I got very, very largely from SCRIBBLENAUTS. Sure, I did a few other series, but SCRIBBLENAUTS, I did that for a decade, you guys, and it all began in very, very late 2012, and the rest is history that we are going to explain on all future KendoCast podcast episodes, you guys. But essentially, if you did not know, many of you do, but if you did not, I thought I'm going to build exactly what the viewers want. If they say make a hot dog with arms and a monocle and a green eye and all this stuff, I would do it and shout back out to them. Just like Mario Kart Wii. We're answering your question and we're going to shout out to you. Very personal, right? It meant something to people. It wasn't just watching a guy play video games. It was having this experience of connection. That's what it's about. And that is what we are going to expand on in all of the future KendoCast episodes. If you've been listening to this as a podcast, watching this as a produced video, thank you so much. We've been through a lot already, but it's only going to get crazier. It's going to get a lot crazier, okay? 2013's coming up next. That was the year that my mom died. It's going to be very heavy. A lot of stuff happened. A lot of good, a lot of bad. But that's for another KendoCast. And thanks for listening.
Bring 'em on down, bring 'em on down. The speakers up and turn 'em up and bring 'em on down.